I'm Shaun Cole, this is the Simpit, and this week I've been very excited about some new news coming out of the Forza camp. And it has been a long time since we've heard much from Turn 10 or Forza Motorsport, as it's been quite a while since the latest release. You think back in time and Forza came out in 2005, and every other year since then there's been another edition of Forza Motorsport, with Forza Motorsport being the last release coming out in 2017, creating this 6-year drought. So with new information on the horizon of an impending title, we had to think to ourselves, is this wonderful? Is this going to be a great thing like Forza 1, 2, 3, 4, where each version had massive advancements, as it was almost like an entirely new game? Or is this going to be more like the regurgitated assets of Forza 5, 6, and 7 that also led to the lowest Metacritic scores for the franchise? And after such a long wait, we're certainly hoping for a better version of the game. Now this week we are going to see the release of information on Forza Monthly via their Twitch channel, but it was 2 days earlier that they actually released a video at Developer Direct featuring new information on Forza Motorsport. Well, sort of. In this video, we heard from Chris Sasaki, the creative director. He talked about the game looking real, sounding real, feeling real. He also talked about new online racing modes and a car building focused single player career.
This is the most technically advanced racing game ever made.
It then transitioned into Gabe Garcia, the vehicle art director. Talk about 500 cars, along with 100 new cars never seen in the game before.
500 cars for you to collect, race, and customize with more than 800 unique upgrades.
And the physics being more advanced than Forza 5, 6, and 7 combined. He talked about the materials and the shaders being built from the ground up. We heard about the ground up over and over again. And there was a lot more focus on living wear, or the dirt buildup and accumulation on cars. It was then Combs, the project audio director, talking about this having the best sounds ever, how each audio system had been built from the ground up. Modifying exhaust and turbos are going to change the car sounds in the game, and other features taking the sound to new limits. And then we finally heard from Arthur Scheck, the director of motorsport content, talking about how there will be 20 environments built, of course, from the ground up, with 5 new environments not seen before, like Kyalami, 10 times more detail before, fully dynamic time of day and weather, dynamic track temps, wet surfaces, rubber buildup, and all being done at 4K and 60 FPS. Over and over, we heard about the term built from the ground up about almost every aspect of the game or the title.
Forza Motorsport, built from the ground up to take advantage of our materials, and shaders are built from the ground up.
Each audio system has been rebuilt from the ground up to deliver a new
Forza
level.
Motorsport launches with 20 environments, built from the ground up for this generation.
We also continually heard about ray tracing to the point that it was almost like a sales pitch for the technology, but they were talking about features of the game. But one thing that we didn't hear from, and one thing that kept being repeated in the comments over and over about, when are we going to see the title? They did say it was going to be 2023, but they didn't say which month. They didn't say which quarter. They didn't even say if we'd see it by Christmas. There were obvious improvements to the game that were made. The lighting, the shading, the buildup of clouds, the weather system, the graphics just looked simply amazing, and they definitely have made advances, but Forza's always been one of the leaders in this area anyway. But being able to deliver this in 4K at 60 frames per second does definitely have me a little excited. So it wasn't the Developer Direct that I thought I was excited for. I thought it was actually the Forza Monthly on Twitch show that they'd been promoting that was going to have the exciting tidbits of news, so I tuned in once again. This one was hosted and it was interview style, and they brought back Chris Sasaki, the creative director, and in an interview style way they basically repeated everything that we had heard before. It was more about ray tracing, more about building it from the ground up, 500 cars, 20 environments, blah blah blah, all showing the exact same footage. There were tiny snippets of new things, like a mention of a couple new cars, like the Cadillac DPI and the Jetta prototype, and the re-mentioning of the Porsche Mission R as some of the 100 never-before-seen cars. And he also mentioned a more focused car list, which honestly could mean anything. They also talked about Kyalami and Hakone as two of the new tracks or environments of the 20 included in the game. He also talked about a historic version of Laguna Seca, along with fan favorites like Maple Valley being part of the new release. But if you really did read behind or listen between the lines, there was information that really was some insight to some new physics that again have me pretty hopeful for the title. They talked about having a much more detailed tire model, the previous version only having one contact patch and being measured at 60 Hertz, versus the new one which has 8 contact patches being measured 6 times faster at 360 Hertz, which is quite a bit more data into the game.
And of course, physics. So you've heard me talk about this before. Tire model. It's the core gameplay. It's the rubber meets the road. Completely rebuilt. We used to have that single point of contact at 60 Hertz. Now we have 8 points of contact per tire at 360. Just a huge leap in our tire model fidelity. You can feel it. It's the core of the gameplay experience now. It's awesome. On top of that, the different racing tire compounds, you've probably seen soft, medium, and hard in things like F1.
They talked about braking changes. They talked about ballast changing and wearing of fuel actually having an impact on the game. They also talked about tire compound, having multiple different compounds that could again affect the race and the outcome of races being a completely new feature to Forza Motorsport. In the end, they did check all of the boxes of the types of things that you hear, the types of things we hear at every single game launch, and the types of things that if they deliver on, we're going to be very excited to be playing this game. The big question is, can they deliver on those promises, or are those changes significant enough to make this the next great version of Forza Motorsport? In reading the comments during the live stream, you can see there were a lot of questions from the Forza community. They were asking things like, are there going to be big aero changes to the game? Will there be big changes to the career mode? Will the car groupings be tighter or better? And most of all, release date. And unfortunately, all of these questions did go unanswered, but we were asked to stay patient, stay tuned for more information coming soon within a couple of months. Again, not exactly implying an early or quick or soon release of the title. They also didn't talk about force feedback or the types of control support that'll be built into the game, and after a 6-year hiatus, these are areas that the game definitely needs improvement, so we'll have to stay tuned and find out if they address that. So again, in the end, they did check all the boxes as I mentioned. They said all the things that you'd expect from a developer after a 6-year break about the new upcoming title to build up enthusiasm and do the marketing that they need to do to get people excited about the new game. But for me, it really always comes down to delivery. It comes up to backing up those promises. Sure, we expect 4K and 60 frames per second, so you just announcing it has it makes me excited because you better. It's a new console system, it's 6 years later, and this is where the industry is. So hopefully, again, if they can do that, do it smoothly, do it with the graphics that I saw that blew me away, do it with the physics changes that they talked about, put that all together, we could be looking at the best version of Forza Motorsport ever. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will be tuning in to find out when they make more announcements of more updates on the title, hopefully more tidbits of information of how it's built, what's inside, and what we get to do when playing it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to thumbs up if you did. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can find out when our next video comes out. And most of all, thank you for watching. This is the Simpit. I'm Shaun Cole, and I'll see you on the track.